So welcome back to the next part of LA Fishguys. I have to admit, it's been 6 months. The tank has progressed quite well. We went through the regular 6-week break-in period. We started off with some damsels. I think I added an eel after that, maybe a clownfish, and then in came about 3 or 4 fish, was it, at one time, for a total of about 7 fish at this point. I have lost one. It was a wrasse, yet I've never found the body in it. Aside from that, there's been no losses. Touch wood, knock wood, whatever you want to call it. The tank's performed actually quite well. I have one issue at the moment, and that is I appear to have either an algae bloom or just proximity to the window, but the tank does grow algae real fast on the acrylic panels. I'll show you that here in just a second. Okay, so you can see our tank's got some fish in it, and it's got some algae growth, which is on the sides predominantly. This is the lightest it's been in the last few weeks. I suspect it's due to this exposure to the window. It's a north-facing window, so there's no direct sunlight, but for sure there's a definite algae growth in there. So let's go through the steps of cleaning it up, and then we can see what it really looks like once we get it all cleaned up. So first step first, I need to undo the pigtail, which in this case is the connection for the LED lights. Then we'll take the canopy off.
The canopy is laminated to match the marble countertops. It holds the LED light strip and sits over the top of a custom dimension UniQuarium tank. The UniQuarium tank is a system that has its filter built into its back or into its end. As with many of my aquarium service accounts, they have 2 sets of natural coral decorations. One set in the tank is getting dirty. A second set that I can bleach clean in advance and quickly and safely switch out.
So because it's an acrylic aquarium, I have to be careful with what I use to clean it. In this particular case, filter pads made specifically for acrylic material.
Aside from suggesting that your cleaning pad be for an acrylic aquarium and inspecting it in advance for granules of gravel or debris, my only other comment in regards to avoiding scratches would be to start at the top end of the aquarium and work your way down towards the bottom. The bottom, or the gravel line, being the last area to clean and the one most likely to produce scratches.
So you can see here, there's a couple of spots I've missed. And then I haven't done the gravel line yet. And this is an area where you gotta be really careful. I've tried to be careful, and I've already created some scratches down along the bottom. And then I've got this red algae starting to grow down in there, which means I have to go down into that sand layer and move it around. So at some point I am gonna scuff it intentionally or unintentionally, but at least I can try to minimize how bad that gets by doing the top of the tank first and working at the bottom last. That way if I do pick up something in the cleaning pad, I don't share it with the rest of the aquarium. I just share it with the bottom of the aquarium. So I'll go through and get these spots that I missed in the bottom.
SpectraPure manufactures the best filtration systems on the market, and they're one of the few manufacturers that actually make their own cartridges as well. If you're looking for a filtration system for your reef tank or fish tank, look no further and don't settle. Check out SpectraPure.com for more information. In addition to filtration systems, they also make some of the best dosing solutions on the market. The Liter Meter 3 can control up to 4 pumps, and you can program the amount of transfer, or the amount of fluid you want to transfer with the push of a button, down to the milliliter. If you're looking for a dosing solution, check out SpectraPure.com. They're not only a manufacturer, they're an innovator, and they make some of the best equipment available.
Have you heard of this new aquarium superfood? It's true. Larry's Reef Services blends a premium human-grade frozen food called LRS Reef Frenzy, and it's good enough to eat.
LRS Reef Frenzy for reef tanks.
LRS is the first food that contains lab-verified probiotics.
And LRS makes Fish Frenzy for small fish and nano reef tanks.
LRS is supplemented with fatty acids and vitamin C.
LRS also offers Herbivore Frenzy for tangs and other plant-eating fish.
LRS is made with fresh Carolina seafood.
And LRS makes a Fish Frenzy in a chunky version for big fish.
LRS is crafted by hand, by hobbyists, for hobbyists, and made in the USA.
LRS Frozen Foods. Good enough for the fish, good enough for me.
For more information, visit reeffrenzy.com. The gravel line is a double-edged situation. It is best to move away as much gravel from the panels as possible, this minimizing scratches when you do clean this area. But the pushing away of the gravel sometimes is what causes the scratches. I tried to use the hard handle end of the cleaning pad and push the gravel away, not along the acrylic panels.
And now I'm going to go around and find the little dots that I missed. You know, those hard, little, tiny algae dots.
You know the ones I'm talking about. The ones that after methodically wiping the entire inside of the tank, that still show up. All tanks get them, whether it's just from being in the right spot where the water flows by, or at the base of a nick or a scratch in the tank.
And then the hand pad for a little bit of detail work.
It's those small dots that you find after you place the canopy on top of the tank and then turn the lights on. The ones that scream, "Hey, you missed me." Well, that's what I'm trying to avoid right now.
All right, I think that takes care of the algae part. No major scratches or scuffs. Most of the algae is now gone or suspended into the water. Let's take a look at the filter system and see how it's going to deal with that algae in the water. So as we discussed before, the tank has its filter system built into its end. It's a wet-dry trickle filter style system. The water is discharged into the tank from the filter, does its thing while inside the tank. It then exits the tank via those slots in the back corner, which in turn allows that water to flow into the, call it the pre-filter compartment. This is where I happen to have the heater. Normally there's a sponge down in there. I think we talked about removing that sponge. It then flows up here, out across a little dam or little spout, which in turn allows that water to flow, in our case, across the drip plate, which then allows the water to go down across the bioballs. With that sponge removed down below, we've replaced it with a filter pad here, and this is what captures the particles. And this is a whole lot easier to replace than it is to have to reach down inside that chamber. Moving along, the water then goes through the wet-dry trickle filter and in turn collects down here at the bottom of this little pump chamber, which in turn is then pumped up out the discharge into the tank, and around she goes. So that's how the filter system works. And the main aspect of maintenance as far as the filter is concerned is changing that filter pad. And that isn't that difficult. And I just happen to have down here
a number of filter pads, pre-cut filter pads. And we simply take out the old and put in the new. And now for the water change portion, I need to unplug the water pump because at that point I'm taking out 10 gallons, will cause the water pump to run dry. So I'm going to unplug the water pump, come on back after the break, and we'll show you how we're going to clean the gravel